What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the Dorm Debate podcast. If you're not already, go follow us over on TikTok and over on Instagram at Dorm Debate Podcast. Now, let's get in to the AFC and NFC playoff games, starting off with the Bucs versus the Packers, the NFC Championship between Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers. Let's go through each team. The Bucs beat the Saints 30-20 in what may have been the last contest between Drew Brees and Tom Brady. Drew Brees expected to retire, nothing official yet. And the Bucs will face the Packers in Green Bay, who beat the Rams. And Aaron Rodgers versus Tom Brady, yet another amazing, legendary matchup. John, let's go right into this right now. Do you think Tom Brady can pull off another win over a legendary quarterback, Aaron Rodgers, who's the favorite to win the MVP this year?
So the short answer is yes. And the reason is because they've already done it this year. I mean, Rodgers wasn't playing at the level he is now. Right now, you see him playing against the Rams, and he bends down underneath the center. They zoom into his face, and he's just like this,
Laughing.
looking at the defense,
I
and they're
saw
like, "Oh shit, we're effed." Like we have no. But Brady went in, Brady, or actually the Packers went to Tampa Bay earlier in the season. I want to say week 6 or something. And
I think it was week 6.
they beat them 38 to, or 30 to 10, 38 to 10. I don't know, somewhere in the 30s to 10 points. And so the short answer is yes, they could beat him. They picked 6 to Rodgers. I think they got a second interception, and it was just a bad game for Rodgers. But the way Rodgers is playing now, this one's going to be in Lambeau in the cold. Rodgers is playing really well. So to be honest, my pick is the Green Bay Packers. I think they're playing too well right now. And I keep saying, like, I know it didn't really work out for my bracket, but you got to like zoom out and just take a look. Don't analyze it so much. Like who, when you're watching the game and not listening to announcers, not looking at previous games, like who is just playing better? And it's the Packers. All right. I don't know if this is official. Maybe somebody could look this up, but I don't think the Rams sacked Rodgers once. Am I mistaken by
Caleb's our
saying
fact
that?
checker.
Like, Caleb, what do you say? Like, to be honest, I
I
watched the
can't
whole game,
recall. Yeah, I
and
can't
I
recall. I'll
don't
look it
think they
up though.
sacked him once. So how is that possible? You have the number one defense in the league. Like, things are just going the Packers' way. You could just see it. Tom Brady's had a good season. They've done really well this far. And I told everybody since their bye, they were going to start to click, and they have. But when you zoom out and you just look at the Packers, they're just playing better than everybody else, and things are just going their way. I was telling Jared, I was texting him through some of the games this weekend, and after the first quarter, you could just tell who's going to win. Like you could tell who's just playing a better game. And the Packers, they're just, I think they're going to beat the Bucs. Now, obviously, I'm not a time traveler, so I don't know this for sure, but I'm just saying from looking at this, zooming out, the Packers are just a better team right now, and everything's just going their way.
I just to follow up on what you were saying. Yeah, there wasn't any sacks for the Rodgers so far as I can see on ESPN.com. Seems like they have a stat for sacks and then yards lost, and the Rams had I believe they got sacked 4 times. Goff got sacked 4 times for 26 yards lost.
Mm-hmm.
Packers had 0, unless I'm reading that wrong. But seems like you're right. At least even then they still won. But yeah, it's interesting because I feel like it's a bit of uncharted territory because I think LaFleur, the Packers head coach, had a statement saying, people ask, it's a fair question. The Packers are rolling. They were steamrolling everyone. Then they play the Bucs, and they were upset by the Bucs
Mm-hmm.
and wiped out basically. And he had a statement recently that was I guess I'll put it on the Instagram at some point, but he was basically saying that the Packers have come a long way since week 6. And that's fair because it's like there's no one argument that doesn't kind of contradict, you know what I mean? Like, so what I'm trying to say is like the Packers have come a long way since week 6 and they've clearly come of age, but so have the Bucs, right? Like
Yeah.
we've talked about how I definitely underestimated how well they've meshed. And I think to credit to, I think, obviously Tom Brady is the biggest piece there, but Arians letting the players be the players because you have a lot of big personalities, a lot of superstars, and they're getting along. Now it took a few weeks to get the gears rolling, which is kind of expected, but they're rolling too. I think it would be safe to say it was probably an upset for the Saints for the Bucs to have won.
Mhm.
And it was, tough seeing. It was a weird thing because growing up, those are the two quarterbacks you just are always there. Drew Brees
Mhm.
and Brady, and obviously when we're filming this, Rivers is retired. So it's just like we've mentioned this a few times, but the idea of the new quarterbacks coming in, the new generation of talent, it's really interesting how this comes in waves. Because you have quarterbacks come in and pepper in throughout. This feels like the last 2-3 years, there's been a lot of new franchise quarterbacks, and who knows if they're all paying out, but definitely mixed emotions watching it because you want to see. I mean, it was a both succeed. As much as I hate Tom Brady as a player, I admire him as a person. At least I'm sure he'll grow on me once he
Mhm.
retires, hopefully
Yeah.
once and for all.
When he's
but
gone.
yeah, yeah, I don't know the way he's playing. I mean, this is one thing I want to add is if the Bucs beat the Packers, that's gonna cement, I think, Brady's legacy to leave the dynasty that he was a part of for 20 years, go to another team, and then immediately make it back to the Super Bowl. And it's
Yeah.
to be fair to Belichick, because that's going to be the comparison. Um, the Bucks were a better team. They had all the pieces there, but still,
Mhm.
it just like the argument for a lot of years was, and I still kind of believe this is if the Patriots were in a not great division historically for the time that Brady was there, and also the great coaching, great quarterback there. Now, if that quarterback were to leave and go somewhere else, then I think that adds a whole new dimension to even if just making it to the Super Bowl, even making it to this point, and say Belichick never has a team that makes it to the playoffs again. That's already an argument there, Not that it really matters because we're talking about this week. And so the reason I was talking about contradictions was that the Packers had played the Bucs and lost earlier, right? And yet that was the only contest between the two, right? They only played
Mhm.
once together
Yep.
because that was the argument against the Bucs for the Saints, that the Saints beat them out twice, and it's very hard to beat a team uh, the third time when they've already beat you twice, and yet the Bucs did it. Now at
Mhm.
the same time, we're in uncharted territory here because Aaron Rodgers was 0-4 against number one defenses in the NFL. This is the first time, so far as I know, we posted it on Instagram page at Dorn Debate Podcast, and and talking about how he is now 1-4 after beating the Rams. They were, I think, top passing defense, top in every metric, and he, it was laughing in the game. It was just like he's just one of the funnest guys to watch, in my opinion. But it's like it's hard to say the Packers aren't rolling when they are, and the Bucs aren't rolling when they are. It's like I think that's going to be a close game. I'm excited to see it. I have the Packers going to the Super Bowl, so I still stand by it. But this game, I have a lot more concerns with in terms of the Bucs being able to upset because Tom Brady already did to Drew Brees, and if on this rampage tour he takes out Rodgers as well and ends up back in the Super Bowl, I mean that's just you know, it's a different mentality Brady has. He's proved it. You never want to underestimate him. So I think that's a lot closer game. Like I have a little more worries for that right now than I do for the Bills and Chiefs.
Mm-hmm. Um, yeah, I have the Bucks winning. I'll just start off by saying that I have the Bucks winning the whole thing. I have them win the Super Bowl, so obviously I have them over the Packers. Um, one of the things to look out for is rushing for the Bucks. Number one is the defense. I'll get to that in a second, but the rushing for the Bucks right now, um, Ronald Jones and Leonard Fournette both had like 62 yards. They combined for like a little over 120, um, which was very good because one, the offense, the passing offense for the Bucks wasn't doing anything that crazy. Brady wasn't doing anything that crazy. It was really the defense and the run game was getting first downs. Brady really didn't shock me.
Right.
Um, and when you're looking at Packers versus Bucks, and you're looking at Aaron Rodgers and Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers is still capable of moving around, scrambling in the pocket, mobility. He definitely has an edge. And also, Aaron Rodgers' arm is still elite. I mean, he's about to win an MVP. So when you look at those older age quarterbacks, Brady, Breeze, Rodgers, Roethlisberger, Rodgers is definitely still the most physically dominant. Um, Now, when you look at Brady, he wins. He just straight up wins. He doesn't really dominate the stat sheet. He just wins. So Brady versus Breeze. Breeze has 1 ring. Brady has 6. Like, we put them in the same tier with passing yards, passing touchdowns. Breeze has a little more, but I think Brady's going to jump him soon. But like, Brady is a different breed. Like, there is nobody like him. Nobody has won that many rings. So when you're comparing Brady, Rodgers in regular season, sure, Rodgers may have the edge. He's more skilled. But playoff Brady is something that we've never seen before and we'll probably never see again. Like, Brady has 6 rings, Rodgers has 1, Breeze has 1, Roethlisberger has 1. Like, when you think about that, this is Tom Brady's arena. Like, this is his time to shine. And not to mention, the Super Bowl is going to be in Tampa Bay. Like, to make it even easier for him, to win a 7th ring. But so one is the rushing with Leonard Fournette getting hot, Ronald Jones getting hot, and the Packers, obviously, their run defense is god-awful. The game against the Bucs, Ronald Jones had 113 yards rushing and 2 touchdowns. We all know about the Minnesota game. They gave up 400 and 500 yards to friggin' Dalvin Cook. So if the Bucs can win without passing and they have a run game, it's going to be very hard for the Packers defense to stop their offense. And then back to the first one, the Bucs defense is hot. They had a great start to the season, and then they cooled off, and now they're hot again. They got Antoine Winfield, who had a crucial strip from Jared Cook during the Saints game. And they have veterans. They have Ndamukong Suh. They have Jason Pierre-Paul, Levante David. They have young guys, but also a really good veteran core. So to take Tom Brady, put him on the Bucs, along with some of the veteran guys on defense, the experience of the Buccaneers is going to top the Packers. Even though Rodgers has 1 ring and a lot of playoff appearances, he has 1 ring. Brady has 6. Like, even though he may compete with playoff games, like, Brady has the wins. He's a winner. That's what he does. He goes and beats Drew Brees. He's going to go and beat Rodgers. And then he's probably going to go beat Mahomes. And it'll cement him to be probably the greatest greatest winner of all time. I'm not going to say he's the most skilled, but greatest winner of all time. So that's my main reason for the Bucs over the Saints. I want to touch on Bucs over the Packers.
Yeah.
I wanted to backtrack just a little bit. John, you had the Saints moving on, and so did Caleb. Just give me just a short answer of why the Saints were able to get it done. I mean, they had 4 turnovers, so that's probably a majority of it, but Michael Thomas had no receptions. Kamara only had 20 yards receiving, 80 rushing yards, no touchdowns. The guy that they went to, Traquan Smith, like, Emmanuel Sanders didn't have a great game. Like, they just seemed off from the start. What was your take on that?
Yeah, it was a bunch of different things, but I think most of it lied on Michael Thomas and Drew Brees. So Michael Thomas, it came out after the game that he has to get surgeries done, like multiple surgeries, but he wanted to play because he thought that this was going to be Brees' last season. So he wanted to help him get a ring. So that was part of it. I was watching the game with my dad, and I'm like, Michael Thomas, like last season when he set the reception record, like he would catch every one of those. There was like 3 of them that literally hit his fingertips that he would have caught last year. Mm-hmm. And Brees, how Brees, this league, as much as I hate to say it, you have to be able to move out of the pocket. Every time he gets moved off his spot, he might as well throw it away, because that's what happened on the interception where he's targeting Michael Thomas, but he threw it like 5 yards behind him. So it's like, Brees just wasn't cut out. They needed, that trick play to even get, keep the lead. So it was just a bunch of things. Jared Cook wasn't in it. It was just, you could just see that it wasn't their game, from the first quarter. They were leading, but it was just not their game. Everybody was off.
I'll add too. A lot of these playoffs games, you look at the Steelers, you look at like it's like momentum has been so big in these, where it's like in the first quarter you kind of get a feel of they can't, they lose their grip, they're not. And I felt that with the Saints. I feel like the Saints were the better team, but they not last game. The
Mhm.
turnovers became a problem, like you said. I didn't know about the injury to Michael Thomas. I feel like it's worth that Drew Brees' wife, Brittany Brees, posted on Instagram about the injuries that Drew Brees fought through the season. And because not to say Brady isn't a winner or anything, but because obviously he is. But it's interesting how that's like to read this and be like, man, this is why the turnovers really killed them. Like to answer your question, Jared, I think turnovers killed them. Once you lose it once, it's hard to get going when your top receiver is not connecting with your quarterback. And I don't think it was just Drew Brees showing age, but just injuries. And I'll mention this, what she had posted on Instagram saying, the fact talking to Drew Brees here, the fact that you played this entire year with a torn rotator cuff, torn fascia in your foot, then later 11 broken ribs and a collapsed lung, yet you didn't complain once. Like, and then she goes on to say like how that and props to Drew Brees for that, because that list alone is like one of those
Scary.
things would sideline one of us for weeks, and this man's playing like pro level football. So I think that's a factor in the fact that the Bucs, who might not have been the better team on paper, lost to the Saints. Is that connection wasn't there? Maybe because of injuries on both sides of that, quarterback receiver tandem, as well as I feel like when when you have to throw to Smith and not Kamara or Thomas, and you're basically playing the Bucs games instead of the other way around. The Bucs are forcing you to respond to them than the other way, because I'm always of the belief anyone can be beaten on any given day, and it just comes down to on this day who is going to be the better player, and that's kind of, I think all those factors come into why the Saints lost. Although I do have to say Brady, like you said, Jared, Brady in the playoffs, you just can never underestimate him. I think but that goes for a lot of other players as well. It's always interesting to think about how Brady's played like 20 years in the NFL or something like that, and like an incredible success to win 6 Super Bowls. But you also have to consider there's been 14 where other people have won. So no one is, a god in this league, and it's interesting to see new characters come up, like Mahomes, and like, maybe we see a side of Rodgers we haven't seen, even though he's been a lot. And I don't say this to take away or kind of like to rub shoulders with, what Brady's accomplished is stuff for the history books. I'm just of the belief that, this is the game of football sometimes favors underdogs, and I think it favored the Bucs against the Saints, and when they might have been a lower spread there. So
Yeah, and one more point I want to bring up, Jared. You were talking about, comparing the Bucks and the Packers and, this game, but when you're the coach of a team and you already played a team during the season and now you have to play them in the playoffs, you'd rather be Matt LaFleur in this situation where you could look back on a game and you lost 38-10. So now
Eh,
your team like is the underdog kind of. Like we saw the Bucks lost to the Saints twice, so they want to beat this team. They don't want to lose again. And there's a lot, how do you think LaFleur feels? He's like the Bucks didn't get to see most of our offense, but we saw them put up 38 points and we saw their like how they play their defense. And like the Bucks aren't really going to change much. Like if you win 38-10 against the team, how much are you going to change your defense? Probably not too much. So they kind of know what to expect and they could, design
yeah,
plays and their players want to go out and win. They don't want to get embarrassed like they did before, but the Bucks players are kind of like, all right, this team's really good. We can't underestimate them, but we did beat them by 28 points.
it's like you articulated what I was trying to say much better than I did earlier. Like the same forces that helped the Bucks surpass the Saints, who had beaten them twice, could help the Packers beat the Bucks, even though they got
Right.
blown out. Like that's,
Exactly.
you put it perfectly. And like you said, I mean, I mentioned this last week that I don't know. It's possible that the Bucks showed their cards and they beat them too badly.
Yeah.
Like they obviously they've improved, and that's why this is the closest game for me. But
Yeah.
you're right to say that. Hey, maybe that's going to be a chip on the shoulder for the Packers. Like, right, we're this good, we better beat the Bucks if they're coming up back at our tail.
yeah, I don't know. I think it could go both ways. And I
Yeah.
I remember you saying the same thing about the Bucks Packers when like they were supposed to be facing in the first round.
Mm-hmm.
And you were like, yeah, the Bucks are gonna win because they remember blah blah blah. So like
This is why we do this.
So I don't know what's happening
I,
here.
I don't know either.
There's been a shift in the time-space continuum.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
All that time traveling is starting to change events.
Yeah.
So like I guess it can go both ways. Like we don't
Yeah.
really know exactly. But
Like,
the,
yeah.
the one thing that I can say is experience. Like as far as Tom Brady goes, it doesn't happen to him. He doesn't like get caught off guard. He doesn't show his too many cards. And just I don't know how to say it. Like Aaron Rodgers, like I said before, he's got one ring, and there's this pressure on him as time's dwindling on his career as well to get to the Super Bowl. But if he has experience, all the other players don't have experience in the playoffs. This is like their first time, getting to the NFC Championship. Devontae Adams, Jamal Williams, Aaron Jones, all those guys on offense haven't really made it that far. And when you look at the Bucs, Tom Brady and Fournette, they met in the AFC Championship already. So just them alone, that's not even counting like any linemen or tight ends or whatever. But just those two alone probably outweigh all the other Packers players. So when it comes to experience, that usually means that they're not going to get caught off guard. They're not going to get fooled. It's going to be the other way around. The Packers are going to have to outplay the Buccaneers. It's like that simple. Like the Buccaneers right now should be going in as favorites because of the amount of experience Tom Brady has, the experience Fournette. They got Jason Pierre-Paul, who won a Super Bowl. All those things combined. Ndamukong Suh, who was on the Rams during that run. Like, there's just so many players that it would be hard for me to be like to think in that locker room that they would be like, oh, we're gonna do the same thing. Like that's not how. Like Tom Brady knows.
He's been through it enough.
He's
I
been
give
through
you
it
that.
enough.
I give you like I have the Packers winning, but I do have to admit that it feels like the Bucks have the edge. I don't know what the official like ranking or stats are, but just like you said, Jerry, he's just done this so many times in the playoffs that it's just you don't statistically the probability leans if you're just looking at odds. Obviously, scenarios matter in the football league, but if you guys had to watch only one of these games, right? There's two games this weekend. If you guys could only pick one, would this be the one you'd want to watch?
Yes.
Because that's how I'm leaning towards for me.
We'll see Mahomes, Allen many times in the future.
Yeah.
Right. That's kind of
I'd rather watch this, but it's amazing how both these games are rematches of the regular season. It's crazy.
Right. I wanted to bring that was actually what I was going to bring up earlier, but I know before we started was the only rematch we wouldn't have would be I mean the Bills and the Packers haven't played either, right?
Right.
So it would be either the Bills Packers haven't played each other or Chiefs Bucks haven't played each other.
No, Chiefs Bucks have.
I mean, yeah, the Chiefs Bucks have, right? So it's just that one.
Yeah, because if Bills Packers, Bills Bucks, or Chiefs Packers, that would all be new.
Right. But I always thought that was interesting because these are, as weird as the season was, you kind of see early on like the best teams are now here.
Right.
And not much has changed. We talked a lot about wild cards and dark horses, but these are familiar faces.
Yeah, let's move on from the NFC and talk about the AFC Championship. So the Chiefs squeaked by the Browns with Chad Henne, University of Michigan alum, go blue. Mahomes, as of today, which is Wednesday, he had limited practice. So as far as we know, everything looks on track to play Sunday. That could change, when we post this on Thursday, but as of right now, it looks like he's on track. So we're just gonna say that he's gonna play. John, I know you got the Bills.
You think I have the Bills winning?
Of course you do. You think I'm stupid? Talk to me about the Bills over the Ravens, because in my opinion, the Bills didn't look that great. I mean, if you take away that pick six, we could see a whole different ball game. The offense Diggs had a touchdown, so I'm gonna concede on that. I've said, oh, just shut down Diggs. Now what? You can't. It's impossible. I'm just gonna give it up right now. Diggs is gonna already have 100 yards and a touchdown, so you can put that in right now before the game even starts. But they didn't look that great. The defense looked good, but the offense didn't look as good. They rushed for only 32 yards. Talk to me. Were you surprised or what?
So if you want me to talk about about the Bills-Ravens game.
Yeah, talk to me about that.
It was interesting because the first 15 plays of the game, I was like, wow, they're passing a lot. Allen's dropping back a lot. And then I saw a stat first 15 plays of the game, 14 passes, 1 rush, and the 1 rush was Allen scrambling.
Yeah.
So I was like, holy shit, he dropped back 15 times. I'm like, if I was game planning, I'd say maybe 80-20 pass to run. They don't need to run. This is a shotgun team now. Last year we said they were a defensive team and then just get a couple first downs and rely on your defense. But this is a passing team. This is a shotgun team. Get it to Diggs, spread the ball around. And I really like that game plan. And I think that's what they need to go to against the Chiefs. Now, yeah, they didn't look amazing. The Ravens defense is really good. They held the Titans to not a lot of points. But I told you guys, remember I said the secondary for the Bills is the second best left, second to the Rams. I told you guys they were underrated and they got that pick 6. And now that the Rams are out, I think they have the best secondary left in the playoffs. And as I told you guys earlier, remember I posted that TikTok comparing the Bills and Josh Allen to Aaron Rodgers and the Packers. And you were saying just shut down Diggs and you guys will be fine. But the Allen has thrown to, I think, 10 different receivers and touchdown passes to 8. And then Rodgers has thrown to only 8 and touchdown passes to only 6 different players. So if you shut down Devontae Adams, if you take Devontae Adams out of the Packers and Diggs out of the Bills, technically the Bills are going to do better because they can throw it to more different people. So I'm more worried about the Packers than I am about the Bills. The Bills can spread it around. So going into the game against the Chiefs, yes, I do think the Bills are going to win the game, whether Mahomes plays or not. I know I keep saying this, but I want to emphasize that you want to zoom out and who's playing better. And I told you guys last week, I told you guys when we did the bracket, we showed our brackets, it's just not the Chiefs' year. You could just feel it, whether it's, the first 7 wins of the year, only 1 was within 1 score. Their last 7 wins, they were all within 1 score. And I told you guys, it's just not their year. You could just feel it. Now Mahomes gets hurt. It's just not their year. You could just feel it. If he comes back, is how healthy he's going to be. It's just not their year. So the Bills are going to win. It's going to be Bills-Packers in the Super Bowl. The only way that the Chiefs can win, they're going to have to rely on their run game, and Darrell Williams is going to have a huge game because when we saw the Chiefs play the Bills earlier in the year, that's what they did. Edwards-Helaire had 26 carries, and he kept getting a few yards, and then first down, and they didn't let Allen hold the ball and go down the field. So that's what they're going to have to do again, the same game plan. But I just don't think it's going to work. It's just not the Chiefs' year. You could just feel it.
Yeah, I want to add as well, just to bring this up, I know we shared it on the Instagram post, but something about Mahomes' playing status, as you guys know, is that for the listeners and viewers out there, is that his playing status as of right now is undetermined, but it's not up to the Chiefs organization. He's in the concussion protocol, and it'll be up to an independent medical, opinion as to whether Mahomes will play or not. And there's really no indication. I know he practiced with the team. It was an ugly injury to see on video, so I hope he's well. I hope he's healthy. It's the uglier side of the game we all love. But again, if Mahomes doesn't play, that's a big question mark as to the Chiefs' ability to beat this Bills offense and Bills team that, John, like you said, is just really well-rounded in a lot of areas. Obviously Diggs is very hard to stop, but they're able to spread the ball around. Allen can run. He's probably more of a dual threat than Mahomes, but that is if Mahomes is playing, then this is a lot of the window. But if it's Henny, anything's possible, right?
He's dual threat too. You saw that.
Yeah.
He's 14.
That was took some stones from Andy Reid to call that. I told you guys I wouldn't even call that in Madden. That when they
did you hear Romo? He's like you guys could tell it's not a play. That you could tell by the body language. And then they snap. And he's like, What?
Yeah, he is rarely wrong too. So
Yeah,
that
he's
was like an
almost never
iconic move.
wrong.
Honestly, I was believing Romo in that moment. I was like, all right, the he has spoken.
Yeah.
Uh, but yeah, I mean, I was when it's more often he's right than wrong in that play. I mean, to call that with a backup quarterback on like 4th and inches, 4th and 1. I
Yeah.
mean, that's stuff of legend. So that's part of why, even if it's Henny, you can't rule out the Chiefs because they have such brilliant coaching with Andy
Mm.
Reid and I mean, a lot of people want Eric Bieniemy, as their coach, and who knows what the future holds. But to the only credit I give is that, not the only credit, but like the Chiefs have a lot of experience this season winning close games.
Right.
Like, and that's experience because it's like, I think it's enough friction. Like when you're coming back from the Super Bowl, and if they dominated 16 games straight, then they don't have enough like to overcome, enough to like maybe carry them into the playoffs. And like the Browns game was close, and like so was the Tampa Bay game. And although those were like in their way dominant wins in some aspects, the fact that the scoreboard shows it very close, they have a lot of experience coming up clutch. And I think that's a thing that you learn as a team collectively. It's not just one person. Like we forget Mahomes only plays one side of the football team. Same with Allen. So it's like going into that, I think if Mahomes or Henny plays, they're probably gonna like you said, John, rely on the run game. I was looking into it a little bit. The Bills are the number 20 rushing attack in the NFL, according to I think Sporting News. And actually, apparently, Darrell Williams outran Nick Chubb in their meetup. So that was interesting because I mean I think Chubb might be the better back on paper, but to see with even I think what the reason I bring that up is Edwards-Helaire I believe is questionable to play,
Hmm.
and that's a big factor too. So if you're without Mahomes and Helaire, who knows whether the Bills dominate you, but it's going to be close for sure. I'd lean Bills without those two guys. If Alairs is there, that gives Henny an opening, I believe, because he showed that he can be clutch. That's like the biggest thing as a backup quarterback that you're always wondering when a backup goes in is like, can he make the plays when we need him to make them? Not
Hmm.
like be Superman, but just to do it and like to show it already. I mean, that takes a lot of pressure off of Henny, I think. So I feel like if obviously Mahomes is the higher paid player, you want him back for sure. Obviously not before it's medically viable. The health of the player comes first. But if those two guys are there, then I think you have a really good shootout. But I'm giving it to the Chiefs. If you're missing some of those pieces there, I feel like I don't know. I mean, you mentioned that the Bills had the best secondary. I think that's I mean, personally, I feel like the Tampa Bay has the best one in terms of just being able to make plays. I mean, they have a younger team, but that's just my opinion. I don't know statistically whether it is or not, but I don't know how you feel about that.
Yeah, I think well, so I think they're riskier. Like you said, they
Yeah.
could make big plays, but Anton Winfield, he's a rookie. Carlton Davis has shut guys down at times, but he's had bad plays. And then Jamel Dean, he had that pick six against Rodgers, but other than that, he hasn't been amazing. So I
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
still give the edge
They have
to
a
the
younger
Bills.
team. Yeah.
Yeah, they
I
have the
just
younger secondary.
right. I feel like that's why they might be not underrated, but like um because they're so young, we don't like imagine if when the Legion of Boom first assembled, we don't know they're the Legion of Boom yet.
Right, true.
So that's my own but I think maybe statistically Bills might be better, but if that's why I'm a little worried more about the Packers losing than the Chiefs winning.
Oh,
If that
wow.
makes sense. I feel like the Packers are gonna I want the Packers to win. I think they will, but I'm more worried about that game than the Chiefs Bills outcome. I feel like the Chiefs are probably gonna win. But hey, it's the Bills game to take as well. I think that's gonna be it's two good playoff games right here.
Yeah, and one thing I want to add quickly, so you were saying if Henny plays, if Edwards-Helaire is out, like I want to emphasize that the game's not over. Like we can't
Hmm.
just hand it to the Bills. Like I
Yeah.
was telling Jared, I was texting him when Mahomes got hurt. There was like 10 minutes left, and Jared's like, "Oh my gosh, Mahomes is out. The Browns can come back." And I'm like, "I don't think the Browns are going to score any more points." It was 22-17. And Jared's like, "What?" I'm like, "Yeah, like when like, your quarterback gets hurt, like your defense knows you cannot let up any more points. Like
Hmm.
our offense is probably not going to score any more points. Like our defense, like they know they can't let up anything. And like just like when Wentz went out and then the Eagles defense, they were like, they were the number one seed, but they were like underdogs to like the Falcons and everybody else. Their defense was like, we're going to stop everybody. And then, Foles ended up throwing for a lot of, yards and touchdowns. But
Yeah.
like when somebody gets hurt, like if Henny, plays, I wouldn't rule the Chiefs out. They could still win this game because their defense, you always try harder and you're like, wow, we're underdogs, but we're going to show people that we could hold this Bills team to not a lot of points. So
yeah,
definitely
a lot of them have rings. They've proved it.
Right,
So they
exactly.
and because they have so much experience winning close games, that hey, man, it's just a chip on the shoulder. Not to say the Chiefs are underdogs. And would you guys say which team would you think is the under? I mean, it's hard to say. They're both out, really good teams. But is there one that's maybe rated lower right now between the Bills and the Chiefs?
Well, the Chiefs, in terms of betting line, they're favored by 3 points.
With Mahomes playing, or you think that would go down if
I
Henny
think
went in?
I think if Henny was starting, I think the Bills would probably be favored by like 2 or 3.
Okay, that's just interesting to think about. Once, because in hindsight after these games, yeah, I agree with you though. I wouldn't rule it out. We've seen some incredible stories this year, some incredible quarterback play. Look at Tannehill,
Right.
and then as well you mentioned Foles. It's like nothing's impossible. So yeah, I'm not gonna say it again, but if Chad Henne plays, you know what I'm thinking. So Jared.
Let me just give some background on Chad Henne because I don't think the youngsters know about good old Chad Henne.
I know that.
He was a 4-year starter at University of Michigan. He did pretty well, really, really well, actually. And he got drafted second round, 57th pick in 2008. So this is his 12th season, maybe 13 if I'm like counting wrong, but like 12-13 season.
Wow.
And he started with the Miami Dolphins, and then right after 2011, he went to the Jaguars and then Chiefs. And with the Jaguars, he was a backup. So like when he went to the NFL, his game just didn't translate. So he's been a backup for probably since 2012.
Okay.
So he's been waiting his time for a long time. And I can imagine he was definitely ready to go in that fourth quarter. But I was texting John and I was saying, Henne, he's just not mobile. Like he can't throw and he's not mobile. Like I don't even know what he's good at. Like in all his time in the NFL, he has not done good. So I'm telling John, I'm like, oh my God, this guy sucks at throwing. And then he's throwing like dots, and I'm like, what the hell?
He saw your text.
I'm like, what? And then he threw that pass in the end zone. That got intercepted.
Right.
So getting to my point, I think Henne has flashes that he could be like, a fill-in for Mahomes. But I'm telling you guys, as a Michigan fan, like it hurts to say, he's not a very good quarterback. Like I know he had that crazy run, but like that was just like adrenaline. Like
that was crazy. That was
something. It was crazy. I'm gonna give him so much credit.
You saw the defense just watching him. Like they're like, is he really going for it?
And to do head first into like 2 people and almost get the first down, be short by inches. That's incredible of a backup.
That was huge.
To flip the switch and be like, I'm getting this first down. But if Chad Henne starts, I'm very, very worried. We saw them move the ball a little bit, but as soon as they got past the 50-yard line, that's where they got field goals. They had the interception. They weren't getting any touchdowns, and that's super, super important when you're facing a team in the playoffs. You want to make sure that you're getting the most out of your possessions, and you don't want to rely on a kicker because it's possible they miss and you get nothing out of that drive. So if I'm looking at it, Chiefs Bills, I have the Chiefs with Mahomes starting. If Henne starts, this game is the Bills to take, like John said. Like
they should win, basically, is what you're saying.
If they see a headline on social media, Chad Henne starter for Sunday, they better get so hyped up. They better run all the blitz packages. They better triple team Kelsey, and they better cover Hill with like 2 safeties behind him.
Just everyone else.
Just leave everybody else wide open.
Hardman, Anybody else, no one cares. Sammy Watkins, I don't even know if he's playing. But you saw the catch that Tyreek had to make. He was like wide open.
Oh my gosh.
He broke away from his defender, and Henny threw it up, and it was so short he had to like stop, moss the guy basically.
Yeah.
And then you saw the overthrow in the end zone. Like he can't make those type of throws. And that oh my god, Mahomes was in the game, but did you guys see Kelsey break that guy's ankles?
Yeah.
Oh
I
my
literally
Lord.
we saw it, and my dad and I were like, "Oh, the guy just fell." And then they show the replay, and Jim Nance is like, "Well, his ankles are broken," and we laughed.
It's crazy because I watched it and I was like, how is a guy that big as Travis Kelce moving that fast? It's
I
like,
told you guys, he's
yeah, I
so
know.
good, and I think he set the record. He was second in the league in receiving yards to Diggs. And then the next one of the next plays, like Hill just drops like an easy like 5-yard pass. And my dad always remembers that TikTok that we posted like that. I'm like, Tyreek just misses open catches. And every time like Tyreek drops a pass, he just looks over at me. And I'm like,
he knows. He knows. I mean,
no, but
yeah.
Tyreek makes some difficult catches, but then sometimes he just like doesn't. He's just like,
That's 5 yards, not worth
going on?
it.
Yeah.
5 yards is too short.
Yeah,
The route running, like a tight end isn't supposed to do that. Like,
yeah.
It's like what they would compare. They said that about Gronk, about how fast and how like to be that size and to be that agile. It's like unusual, and I think Kelsey has elements
I
of
know
that.
both their
Yeah.
hands, Gronk's and Kelsey's,
Yeah.
like their hands are so soft. It's like they don't like try
Like
to like
Charmin.
every time, like they have no problem going deep and putting their hands like out. They don't have to like put them up, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, I feel like, I mean, amongst all the remaining tight ends, I feel like Kelsey's probably the best among
Yeah.
remaining receivers. I mean, that's tougher between Hill, probably Adams,
Even
Evans,
Adams.
and Diggs.
Diggs.
I think Hills or Diggs though, personally, because I think Diggs had more receptions,
Yeah.
but Tyreek had more touchdowns or something like
I would
that.
go Adams Diggs. Adams had the
Yeah.
most touchdowns, and then I think
Okay,
Diggs had the most yards.
right.
Yeah.
So it's like it'll be interesting to see even with Henny if Henny plays, um, if the Chiefs can still win with a running back who outperformed Nick Chubb last game in the playoffs, and the best tight end remaining, and then maybe like top 4 receiver.
Mhm.
Is going to be interesting, as well as like maybe they'll do something like what the Rams did, where they had the backup start, and then obviously I think they intended to stay with Walford until he got hurt, and then Goff came in and won the game. So maybe just to play it safe with Mahomes, put in Henny, and then see how things are going, and then like unleash the beast with Mahomes because he's gonna get him going. I mean, the thing we also want to add here is that Andy Reid is brilliant at finding quarterback talent and developing it. Not to say Henny's going to be Mahomes, because no, but
You
can
imagine
he
he's throwing like sidearm passes with like the second play, and we're like,
looking the
what?
other way and just like throwing it this way, like Andy Reid's like, just how I taught you. But I mean, that's something I want to give credit to is Reid is known for developing I mean, look at what he's done with Mahomes too. And not saying Mahomes is would have been bad without him, but like maybe he sees something in Henny, and that you start to value we've said this in the beginning of the season. You start to value the quarterback backup position more, even though the league is designed now more than in past years to protect the quarterback. That teams that invest in a good backup can pay dividends when it matters in the playoffs. So we might see that. I don't like John said, I wouldn't rule it out. I'd be more worried if I was a Chiefs fan, like you said, Jared. But we're gonna have to see, because the game's about this weekend, right? And again, it's not up to the Chiefs. So we'll see if Mahomes is healthy enough to play. Then it's gonna be a shootout.
Yeah, if Mahomes is healthy, I'm going Chiefs. And again, I think experience tops the Bills in this one. I don't know, but I assume the Chiefs are hungry to go back to back. A team hasn't done that since the Patriots
Right.
back. I don't even know when, but if they're hungry, they have the experience. They've been here before. It's their third straight. So they are very familiar. The Bills, this is their first time in almost 20 something years, more than that. And you got an inexperienced quarterback, Josh Allen, who's not known for playing great in the playoffs. I don't know. I think it's just very risky if you take the Bills on this. There's not much going for them. I mean,
no risk at all.
If you look at offense, I guess they have nothing to lose.
Yeah.
But if you look at offense, it's Chiefs. I say defense, you go Bills. But the offense of the Chiefs is so good that it's, what do they say? Like a great offense is a good defense or something like that.
Yeah, but like, don't you see, like,
That is what they say.
Mahomes got hurt. Like, like things just aren't going their way.
The thing is with the Chiefs is, like, I know things aren't going their way when you look at the scoreboard and, they're only winning by, within 14 points, within 7 points, but they're winning. They had the best record this year. So at the end of the day, they're winning, and that's all you need to do in the playoffs. You don't need to outgain them. You just need to score more touchdowns, and that's what they do. They've done. What's their freaking record? They got like 15 wins this season. So
to win the game.
Huh? You play to win the game, yeah.
You play to win the game.
Play to win the game. You don't play for more yards. You don't play for Diggs to have touchdown. Like,
it's only in Madden does that, or fantasy.
Like,
that's interesting.
I would love the Bills to make it, but it's one of those things where they're just not there yet. They're very close, but they are missing some pieces, like the run game.
I was gonna say that's
yeah,
my biggest glaring piece. They have the receiver, but
it's bad. 32 yards rushing, like that's embarrassing.
They don't need that though.
Allen's been their biggest, I think, their rushing leader in the playoffs. Josh Allen.
Yeah, if they did that again against what they did against the Ravens, if they replicated that against the Chiefs, they lose. There's no way in God's green earth that the Chiefs are going to score less than 17.
Oh, well, okay.
Careful what you wish for.
Well,
don't wish for.
If Mahomes is playing, you're probably right. But I just thought of another reason why the Bills are going to win.
That's so Raven, like
the Bills are going to win the Super Bowl. And here's why. Because you know how bad Jonathan's luck is, right? Like anything he says, the opposite happens.
Oh, no.
What did he say in the beginning of the year? The Bills are the Bills. They're always going to suck. And now it's going to, whatever Jonathan says, the opposite happens. If he's so sure about something, I really think the Bills are going to win the Super Bowl.
Just for Jonathan, just because Jonathan felt like
because
they weren't
he has to stop being so confident.
He's not here to defend himself.
He's literally manifesting it into reality.
Like if Jonathan like next year switched to be an Eagles fan, then the Cowboys would be.
Cowboys are going to win the Super Bowl. Yeah.
So maybe he knows what he has to do, but is he strong enough to do it? Yeah. I mean, we'll see what Jonathan says. We miss you, Jonathan. But I knew when you started talking, John, I was going to go in Jonathan's direction. I was like, wait, this is
Jonathan. Jonathan, if you're listening, please come back next week when the Bills, even if the Bills beat the Chiefs, which they will, please come back, show your face. Because if you don't show your face, the Bills are going to keep winning. They might win the Super Bowl.
Oh, man.
I mean.
Oh, wait. Jonathan's joining the Zoom call right now.
Oh, wow. He is.
This is the last thing I want to add for this, at least on my part. It's going to be interesting, the narrative that happens, right? Because if Tom Brady ends up winning out, right, winning the Super Bowl, he'll have defeated Breeze, Rodgers, and a bunch of other quarterbacks, and then coming down to these two, either Allen or Mahomes, like challenge the old guys and the new guys and came out on top. That's incredible with a new team. But then if you look at, say, the easier narrative too is with Mahomes. Like if they repeat, that hasn't been done since Brady, then I think it cements that kind of like what Kobe was after Jordan, that you kind of expect Mahomes' career to be the heir apparent to Brady. So those are two narratives that I'll be seeing, but obviously a lot of people want to see the Bills-Packs game, so who knows, but that's just two big narratives that I'll see. Or you see like maybe the Bills become a force to reckon with if they end up winning, or Rodgers gets his second, so he separates himself from Roethlisberger and Breeze. Those are all, it's going to be interesting storylines wherever it goes, but it's also a team effort. We always have to focus in on the quarterbacks. It's the fun part, but I think this is going to be a lot of fun football. A lot of fun football we played.
Yeah, but the storyline, if Henny starts on Sunday, It's gonna be any given Sunday. You know, that's what it's
Brilliant.
anything can happen.
anything can happen any
The-
given Sunday.
The hashtags write themselves.
Social media managers are gonna have a field day.
Oh, it's gonna be. They're gonna be like, "What's your title?" Oh, I already got it. Easy.
Newspaper editors are just wishing for the chance to use that.
Yeah.
Their Foles doesn't have the same ring to it as Henny, you know?
Well,
All right.
regardless of who wins either matchups, I mean, if Brady wins, he's going to either go up against Mahomes, which is the best of the best right now, or he's going to go up against the youngster Josh Allen. And if Aaron Rodgers wins, you're going to see either Rodgers versus Mahomes or Rodgers versus Allen, like
Yeah.
strongest arms in the game
Yeah. Literally.
competing. So either
Yeah.
way, whatever happens, I think we're in for exciting Super Bowl for sure.
Yeah. I can't wait till next podcast where we find out who won these two games.
Ooh, well, John already knows.
Can't wait.
Yeah, I already know. It's Bills Packers, but it's gonna be fun.
Yeah.
The games are gonna be good.
Oh yeah.
Do you watch the game and you're like, all right, Dad, touchdown here?
No, I don't. I want to make it interesting. I see the final score and who wins, but I'm like, I don't want to go into like the breakdown like I'm playing Madden or something.
You want to
I-
react live? Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
want to see.
It's like a movie can still be exciting if
But
it's
it's-
like spoiled, but it's how they get to the
But
they
it's
get
like,
there.
but if like I know the score is going to be like 28 to like 20, and it's like 20. It's like 28 to like 3 at the end of like the third quarter. Then I know, oh wow, this team's gonna like get on fire here. This is gonna be fun to watch. No, but
We'll have to
on a
see.
serious note, we're gonna try to go live on Sunday, aren't we?
Yes. So here's the deal. If you've made it this far, I'm probably make it a TikTok. But we are planning to go live. We don't have any specifics. We're gonna release the specifics on TikTok. So if you're not following us on there, go follow us there. But we're planning to go live maybe for about an hour, either probably in between the two games, most
Yeah.
likely. And we'll be answering questions. We're gonna react to the first game. Yeah, just having fun, hanging out with you guys and getting your guys' reactions as well on the live. And we are hoping after that, if that goes well, to have another live on TikTok for the Super Bowl. So that should be fun. But yeah, go follow on TikTok to stay tuned. Go follow on Instagram. We're posting really fun content there. Some cool facts. Kayla's been posting a lot of cool stuff. So you want to go follow on both of those. But that is going to do it for our divisional championships. What do you call it? AFC, NFC?
AFC, NFC Championship.
Conference championship, if you will. Yeah, if you like this video, go leave it a like, comment down below. Let's figure out something, because I know I'm gonna shout him out because my boy, he always comments, so I'm gonna shout him out right now.
Say his name.
So our comment will be, if Chad Henne starts, will the Chiefs still win? That's my answer. So if Chad Henne starts, are you going Chiefs or are you going Bills? So,
And if you think of a good Henny hashtag,
Yeah,
just
drop
comment
it.
that as well as hashtag.
oh yeah, give us your best Henne merge word.
Pun, or this is the content we produce, guys.
All right, and it can't be any given Sunday or anything can happen.
Yeah,
Anything's
it's
possible. Those three we've already mentioned. If we've already mentioned it,
Yeah,
or just give us your stories. It's
or yeah, whichever.
maybe
one you like
tomorrow, maybe when this releases, it's Mahomes is going to start. So it's like
Yeah,
it doesn't
probably
matter anymore.
with our luck.
We're just asking our fans to spend time.
So I'm gonna do some shout outs. Truly Brady. He's been there since like day one.
Oh yeah,
Truly Brady.
Shout out, man.
Comments all the time. He's a real one. Ollie 0787, another real one, always commenting. Just good vibes all around. And BXRPY. Now he's a Ravens fan, and I felt bad that they lost.
Oh, sorry, man.
But oh well.
Lamar's won a playoff game though, so now it's just You know, you
Yeah,
can build off
they got that
build
off their shoulders, so you
Yeah,
can
yeah.
be
And
thankful
the
for that.
Ravens, they were able to buy the clone machine from Belichick.
Dude, the backup is
Dude,
exactly like Mahomes or
literally.
Lamar Jackson. I literally was like, oh, Lamar put on a different jersey and came in.
Yeah. No, they probably what they did before they leave the locker room. They glue his helmet to him because they don't want him taking off his helmet and then Lamar's face is there. Like, how bad would that be? Like, they know the clone machine is in their building.
Yeah, man.
Banter.
Man, Lamar must have been taking like a really long.
All right. Shout out to those guys because you guys, we see you, we appreciate you.
He didn't come back on the field this time for us to see the stain on his pants.
All right,
He tried to get up and he's like, oh no, I can't do that.
stop. This is
no more.
We're already losing. Screw it.
It's too late.
All right, we should have ended this like an hour ago.
Yeah.
So, Truly Brady, Ollie 0787, and BXRP. Thank you guys for your continued support. It really it means a lot. I love seeing your comments on YouTube.
Yeah, and that's on YouTube. We also have a couple TikTok commenters we'll mention at some point as well.
Yeah,
we see y'all. We appreciate you all so much.
Yeah,
for real.
Thank you guys. I told Truly Brady that we might have a Madden contest. Because he plays Madden on Xbox, so we'll have to run it sometime.
Ooh.
But
that might be the move.
Until that point, thank you guys so much for watching. Again, as I said before, go follow us on Instagram and go follow us on TikTok at Dorm Debate Podcast. And we will see you guys next week when we find out the Super Bowl matchup. It'll be very exciting. And hopefully you guys tune in next week on Thursday. Thanks, guys.